Hi, welcome to Gene Rants. I'm Gene. And today, I was going to say I'm surprised, but I'm actually, a little surprised, not shocked. But it's part of a continuing series of how our Democratic friends, in their zeal to go after, Republicans in general, but Trump specifically, they keep shooting themselves in the foot, and we're seeing another example. I would think right now, they do these things to hurt Donald Trump that. Or to distract, which is what we're really talking about, or to distract from their own problems, which is, it doesn't have to be their problem. That's one of the amazing things. During Watergate, I'm old enough, obviously, to have lived through remember the Watergate period. And there was a time initially when the revelations about Watergate, not about Watergate, it was about the cover-up of a two-bit burglary, which is what it was referred to as at the time. And the Republicans, of course, they rallied around the president initially, but as facts started to come out, they turned around and to the point that they went to the president, Nixon, and urged him to resign. And it's I'm not seeing the same thing from the Democrats regarding Russia. This whole Russia hoax that Trump. Well, first of all, that the Russians they were meddling in the election. They do that, presidential elections. They do that all the time by planting fake Facebook posts and things, social media posts that they purport to come from Americans that are actually from Russian, Russian agents, Russian hackers, whatever you want to call them, who put messages that disrupt the election by things they say about one candidate or the other, or actually one candidate and the other, which is one of the revelations that there was one of the accusations was that the Russians were intervening in the election to help Trump get elected. So there was that was one thing. The other thing was that, or the other element was that Trump was actively colluding with the Russians to do this, to help him get elected. Now, both of those, we know today that both of those accusations are false. But what we didn't know, that we are finding out now with the release, the declassification of documents, is that the intelligence community, the CIA, they call it the IC, the intelligence community, and that they came to the conclusion that the Steele dossier was false, and that Russia was not favoring one candidate over the other, and that they were not working with Donald Trump to get him elected, or the other way around. Trump was not colluding with them, and that was in the intelligence report. And we are finding that John Brennan seems to be one who's most on the hot seat. That because he ordered this evidence those reports suppressed, and to put forth another a false intelligence estimate, and that would say that just the opposite, that the Russians were working, or Trump was working with the Russians. And it's I don't want to get too much in the weeds there. You can look it up. The documents are on the internet, by the way. You go to DNI, that's a Director of National Intelligence, DNI.gov. You can see the documents are there. They're all, don't have to take my word for it. You don't have to take anybody's word for anything. Tulsi Gabbard's, whoever you want to hate. The documents are there. You can read them, okay? And which I have. There are hundreds of pages, not every single page, but highlighted relevant parts I have read. And you have also, you can find easily a screenshot, an image of John Brennan's handwritten notes of his meeting with Barack Obama and in the White House, and Vice President at the time, Joe Biden and other, James Comey, I believe, was there, and others. And his notes show that he told everybody, all of those people, what I just told you. Now, what it's just that this is coming out, and now the Democrats are going. They should have done. That was my point. I kind of, meandered a little bit when Republicans saw that the jig was up with uh, Nixon and Watergate. They went to him and they said, "Well, if you don't resign, you're going to be impeached and you're going to be removed from office." Just told them that, and they turned because the facts were there. Now the facts are there. The facts are there. Remember, there was never a well, there was a trial of the Watergate burglars, obviously, but there was not one, and they were convicted. But there was not a trial of Richard Nixon. He resigned, and the point is that, and all these people are out of. The point is that whatever's going to happen to John Brennan and James Comey and all these people, Barack Obama, nothing would happen. And there's no real point dwelling too much on it. He's protected by the immunity that Trump is protected by, because he on the decision by the Supreme Court, as Trump said, Obama owes me. He owes me big, and he does. But the point is that the Democrats, it's amazing to me that they don't. The facts are there. They're coming out. Why they don't turn around the way the Republicans did and say, okay, the facts are there. The facts are there. The Justice Department is investigating, and we are not going everybody innocent to play, until presumed guilty. But we are going to wait to see what the Justice Department does. We'll see if there's any trials, what the results are, any plea bargains, any takings of the Fifth Amendment, so on and so forth. And we are going to withhold judgment. We're not going to condemn any of these people, but we are not going to defend them either anymore. We are just going to stand aside, they could save themselves by doing that. It would be a very statesman-like thing to do, but instead they are really rallying around all of these people and trying to cover up the cover-up, basically. That's what they're doing, and they're getting a lot of help from the media. And one way they're trying to do this is there's this relentless focus on the so-called Epstein files, and they're being released little by little. Now, you have to remember, this is what it was going to come later in this vlog, but I give you a little preview right now. Several people have been subpoenaed, so we'll get to whom was subpoenaed in a moment. But the point is that it's ongoing, but things are going to be released. And one thing, the president himself has called for things to be released, as you're going to see also here. But the point, it's very, first of all, so they're going to end up with egg on their faces again. That's number one. Instead of just waiting to see how things play out and doing what the Republicans did, to their credit, during Watergate, they're just rallying around all these people, and they're trying to cover it up, and they're using these Epstein files, and they're trying to create, well, I guess in the as you're going to see in a moment, they're trying to, I guess, paint Donald Trump as as I said in an earlier vlog, they're throwing this term around, pedophile. What Epstein did, that's not pedophilia. Pedophilia is sex with a pubescent child. Like, I hate to say things like this, but like raping a 3-year-old, something like that. That's pedophilia, or child porn. That's I guess that comes under the rubric of pedophilia. My doubt is, I'm not a lawyer, whether pedophilia means actual sex or if it includes pornography, as horrible as it is. Child pornography, probably a crime in itself, regardless of pedophilia. But what we're talking about with Epstein is sex with a minor. That's what we're talking about, with 17 and 16-year-olds. That's my understanding. The youngest victim, 16 years old. But the point is that they're using, because there are photos with Donald Trump with Jeffrey Epstein. But take a look at this photo. That's obviously Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And take a look at this photo. Bill Clinton again, this time getting a neck massage from a young woman named Shawntae Davies. And now take a look at this headline. Give it a crack. Creepy moment. Bill Clinton gets massage from Epstein's sex slave after riding on his notorious Lolita Express plane. My point? Well, I have a couple of points, but here's the first one. And the first one is that if the Republicans wanted to go after Bill Clinton the way the Democrats are going after Donald Trump with this Epstein stuff, obviously they have some good material to work with. But, and this is the main point I want to get, because let me give you a couple. Now, you just saw that, and you can draw certain conclusions from that if you have a biased press that is out to get Bill Clinton. Then you could, as the Democrats are out to get, the way they keep spinning this story, well, out to get Trump to, I guess, make him convict him, at least in the marketplace, of ideas of sex with minors, number one, and number two, to cover up all the Russia cover-up revelations that are coming out. And that's obviously what a lot of the mainstream media, mostly Democrats, that's what they're doing. But we just, obviously, if the Republicans wanted to return the favor, they would have a lot to work with. But if you have a fair press, I just showed you that headline, and that woman, as I said, her name is Shawntae Davies. And, well, I'll give you give you a couple quotes from the article, then I'll continue. Despite the photos, despite the photos I just showed you, Shawntae, who claims she was raped by Epstein, not Bill Clinton, by Epstein multiple times, said that her experience with Clinton was a positive one and that he was a complete gentleman. Although the image looks bizarre, President Clinton was a perfect gentleman during the trip, and I saw absolutely no foul play involving him, Shawntae said, according to the Daily Mail. That's the paper that this article comes from. And by the way, I link to it, as I always do, unless I forget, in the description. I know I'm not forgetting this time, so you can go read the whole article for yourself. The point is that you have that photo, obvious implication there, but you see, and the woman, Shawntae Davies, I've been referring to her as a young woman. Why? Because we're talking about sex with minors, because she is 22 years old. She is an adult. And so she's an adult, number one. Number two, she is a masseuse. I mean, she's a trained, I think that's what they call them, masseuses, somebody who gives massages. She's trained. She's not like it's not like getting a lap dance at some strip club. She is she knows what she's doing. But you see the impression that you could get from those photos and from a biased media, which we don't have here, or at least they're being, well, I mean, I read the whole article and it seems pretty fair, and that is my point, because she said, let me just read you, I'm not going to put it up again, but read it to you, that he was she's saying that she saw absolutely no foul play involving him. Okay, that should end the matter right there. I mean, I don't know why it wouldn't, because Trump has never been to, there's no record of him ever being visiting this I don't know, Lolita Island, whatever you call it, Epstein's Island. But Bill Clinton was there multiple times, and other people. Alan Dershowitz was there, who was his lawyer, and he. Well, that's another point to make about Alan Dershowitz. First of all, so one of these women or girls, whatever, tried to accuse Dershowitz of having, I mean, come on. But anyway, sex with a minor. He said he would sue, and of course, he immediately retracted it, because the idea is to embarrass somebody and they give her some money. But he threatened to sue, which he can do because he's a lawyer, and it's not going to cost him anything really to sue. So she did. But there are other people too. He was a financial advisor. That was his official business. And he made a point of meeting lots of important people. There's Bill Gates. There's Bill Clinton, and others. I don't know why there's a whole long list. I'll give you a couple people though. There was Alan Dershowitz. This is another thing. Alan, did I say Bill Gates? Bill Gates is one, and the point is that a lot of people had interactions. Oh, Woody Allen also, okay, another celebrity who went to a dinner and he said how meager the little food that he would serve. He had a townhouse on the Upper East Side. I think that's where it was. Not, we're not talking about the island of Woody Allen having been there, but the point is that this woman said that she never saw Bill Clinton do anything unsavory or concerning. And isn't that what Ghislaine Maxwell just said about Donald Trump?
CBS News has learned Ghislaine Maxwell said nothing during her 9-hour meeting with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche in July that would be harmful to President Trump. According to a source familiar with the exchange, she told the number 2 at the Justice Department that Trump, once a friend of the late child sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, did nothing in her presence that would implicate him. That revelation comes as sources say top administration officials are discussing whether to make public some of the transcript or recording of what Maxwell, a convicted co-conspirator of Epstein, told Blanche.
So how about fair is fair? She said that she never saw him do anything that would even concern her. That is my point, this double standard. And it really, as I said, doesn't surprise or shock, but it really disappoints me with Democrats, because I voted for Democrats a long time ago, because of things like this. And there's not, well, I get back to Dershowitz for a moment, because this is important too, and this is another point I want to make, is that Alan Dershowitz, he already made a statement about it. He says, I know all the names. He knows the names, but he cannot reveal them, because that's the other thing. All that, as you saw in that news clip I showed you, that Trump is okay with releasing that transcript to you, and I think he should release the audio too. No reason not to, but he's happy to do that. But a lot of these things that they want to see are under court seal. Alan Dershowitz has said he calls it the Dershow, Dershowitz, Dershow. Get it? It's a podcast, and it's on YouTube, the episodes. And he said he knows the names, but under a court order, he cannot reveal them. But he did reveal 2 names. He revealed 2 because these 2 people are deceased. And the 2 people are George Mitchell, former Democrat majority leader of the Senate, and Bill Richardson, former governor of New Mexico, another Democrat. So the 2 people named. So this is what I say about shooting themselves in the foot. A lot of these revelations they're holding, there won't be anything about Trump, but there may be something about the Democrats. And I would also mention, talking about Bill Clinton, both Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton have been subpoenaed to testify. They have to go before the House. Probably it would be a deposition, not a public testimony. That could come later, who knows? But they're to be questioned about Epstein. And not just them, again, to be fair, not just them, but they are included. But Merrick Garland and other officials, but also, why can't I remember his name? Former Attorney General under Trump the first time, Bill, just escaped. You know he is. He's kind of a rotund guy. Anyways, Republicans and Democrats are both being subpoenaed, again, to be fair. No doubt that his name, Bill Barr, right? Okay, finally, I'm not getting as old as I thought I was. Bill Barr, he was subpoenaed too for various aspects of the Epstein. I think a lot of it has to do with how things were handled, but they're being subpoenaed, and who knows what's going to come out. And I don't understand why Democrats are so anxious to have this thing investigated, especially, and let me just for the record, George Mitchell, is a Democrat. He was one of the, he's one of the names that Dershowitz says. The other one is Bill Richardson, and then George Mitchell. I don't believe this. I do not believe for a moment, this is my point again, that either of those people were having sex with minors on Epstein's island. They were just two more important people that that Jeffrey Epstein wanted to bring within his circle. So I am not accusing them of anything because A, I want to be fair, but B, because I don't believe it. I don't think, and I don't believe it about Trump either. That's what this thing, but they make, the Democrats are trying to make an exception for Trump, and it's just ridiculous. And I will finally end on this other statement that Dershowitz made. And I'm not going to search for the podcast. You can, go through the subjects and find it. But he also said that he knows all the names, and none of them, not one, Democrat, Republican, none of them is currently holding office. All right, so that leaves out Donald Trump again. He's holding office. He is the president of the United States. But it also leaves out every member of his cabinet, every member of his administration, and every senator, every U.S. representative. Nobody, none of the names in these files that people are so angry that they believe they're so anxious to see implicates anybody who is currently in office. So what is this at the end of the day? It's just it's gaslighting to a large extent, but it's really just something. It's funny. I guess I'll have to end it on this because the irony, because these Democrats are accusing Donald Trump of using Russia. Never mind all the declassified documents, and now you have the Justice Department investigating, and also I think they're now is a prosecutor going to a grand jury, and that all this is to distract from this Epstein business. When ironically, it's actually the other way around. That the purpose of the Epstein stuff is to distract from all the Russia cover-up stuff. And that's it for today. Thanks for stopping by. If you could subscribe, that would really be great. Your comments always welcome. Comment section below the video. Share this video with anyone you think would benefit from it. But most of all, come back and see me again. I'd love to see all of you again. And until I do see all of you again, bye.